Hello, everybody. Welcome to Blizzcon Line. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Andrea Toyas. I'm the senior casting and voice
I
director
love
at
these
Blizzard.
panels again, like I've
I
said.
love very, very much, and I can't even begin to tell you.
I will be muting my mic though while I'm
absolutely
eating
thrilled
little
I am to be
Cadbury
here with you today
eggs.
to still bring voice actor panels to you despite the madness of the world. I've got some amazing, amazing, amazing friends with me, so hopefully the camera will show you.
I'm
that
assuming
we've brought
Sylvanas
some
is
of our
there?
favorite actress from World of Warcraft. So if you're
No?
at home, I want you to clap right now because I am thrilled beyond measure to have these great people.
I think I see Bwamsamdi on the left.
We were like
My second
wildfires
favorite
before the
character.
shoot started because I haven't seen my people in so long. I just was overwhelmed with tears and joy. And I think for all of us, we haven't seen each other in a year. Yeah. And so we've all been heavily COVID tested. We've been following protocols so we could be here today to bring this love and this joy to you. Welcome to the World of Warcraft voice actor panel. We're calling this Voices of the Afterlife so we can really dive into Shadowlands and share the great work we've done. So yay for us. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. I think we're gonna have a great time. So I think we'll just start with some introductions to show you all my great friends that are here. I want to bite them and chew them and hold them so bad. So I might have done an illegal hug. I don't know, maybe. I'm not going to admit to it. But I'm just going to start. I've got my wonderful, delicious, amazing friend, Max Middleman. He plays Arelon in the gorgeous Ardenweald piece and in game. So Max, these are our tribe. This is Max.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Hi.
Next to Max, I've got the one and only Sire Denathrius, also known as Ray Chase. Ray Chase, this is
Oh, damn.
Tribe. This is Ray.
Hi, guys.
How do they not have Sylvanas? I mean, I guess she hasn't done
on the
much
whole
lately.
planet, and I so deeply mean that.
She's been behind the scenes, but she's coming in hot
Deborah
soon.
Wilson, who plays Draka.
Yeah.
So everybody.
Hey, fam.
Yeah.
Hey, fam. Hey, World of Warcraft fam.
First of all, I like this
my
one.
Girl, I love her.
First of all,
we
Draka's
have-
cool.
fabulous. We couldn't-
Voice
Steve and
actress
I
is
said
awesome.
We couldn't have a panel about the afterlife without our Loa of Death Bwamsamdi, Alex Brazil. So
This
there
is
he
my boy.
Alex Tribe, Alex.
How you doing?
Yeah.
This is my boy. I love this dude.
Again.
This guy's awesome.
And of course, we couldn't talk Shadowlands. There's no way we could do Shadowlands without our fabulous, most beloved, our king, our Anduin Wrynn, also known as Josh Keaton. Josh,
Thank you very much.
it's our people.
What's up?
Do they not have the jailer? Are you kidding me?
And then none of this would be possible without our fearless leader, our lead narrative designer, who I also like to call Cuddles. He likes it when I call him Cuddles. This is Steve Denuzer, lead narrative designer. Steve, it's our people, of course.
Hey, everybody. It's
Yeah.
awesome to be here with you.
Yes, let's just clap for ourselves since there's nobody here.
And let's clap for the fam.
Yeah, for all of you. I know. Yes. You know, it's weird. BlizzCon, and Steve and I always talk about this. BlizzCon to me is better than Christmas. It's really, for all of us who've been, it's better than Christmas, and it felt so weird. I don't know how you guys were, but it felt really weird to not be there with you. So we're really gonna hang out and chat and just talk life, talk game, and talk about everything we've been through in the last year, because even though we couldn't be with you in Anaheim, we want to be with you in here in spirit. So that's what we're gonna do today. And hopefully the camera's getting our, what do you guys think about the set, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome. Can
Well,
I move in?
I know. Well, I told them, like, now, just so you guys can get this on camera, every year the voice actor stage better look like this or I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. I'm just saying. So yeah, welcome. I love you. I'm so happy to be here. I want to talk to Steve first, because Steve and I talked a little bit. You know, this is the first game that Blizzard did in the pandemic, right? I mean, I think March 13th, we got the call that we were all going to work from home.
There's the call now.
Yes. We're going to work from home, and thus we had to figure out, we have to make Shadowlands happen from home. I think at that point we had very little content recorded. And so we did. So Steve, I want to talk to you because I haven't seen you. We've only talked a little bit in sessions. It's the first time I've seen Cuddles.
I know.
So Cuddles, what was it like having to make this game and write this game about the afterlife and these crazy heavy topics during a pandemic? I mean, for you personally, this is tough.
Well, it was tough, and it was a really scary time at first because when this started happening, we didn't know if we could have voices. We didn't know if we could pull it off even. And we had very frank conversations like, is this going to be a silent expansion, you know, or very minimal? And we talked about like, well, could we, you know, go back later after things are normal and record it then and put the stuff in? And you know, we over the past few expansions especially, voice acting has just, we've taken it to new levels, and it's become such an important part of the game, and there's been so many memorable performances. And at the end of the day, we decided we had to find a way. We had to find a way to make it work. And thanks to our amazing sound team, our amazing engineers, we somehow pulled it together and once again executed at a really high level. And all the new actors who came in who've never been in WoW before, to have to bring everybody in and say, hey, you know, this is this Afterlife that we're going to be laying out there for our fans. It was a huge undertaking, but just super proud of the way that everyone came together and showed such commitment to this.
Yeah.
We knew we wanted to do the right thing for the game, and it was amazing.
Yeah, we really did have a talk at a certain point. I remember having a conversation either with you or WoW leadership, I forget, but maybe we have to ship this game with no VO because we didn't know. But before we even go into that, I mean, I know for myself I felt this way. To have to be creative when I was feeling down and blue and having to deliver and create was very difficult. So before we even get into the game, I want to know how all of you are doing. You know, 2020 was hard, and from that I want to segue into what it's like to create under a pandemic from your closet at home by yourself, and you're scared about the world melting down. So before we even get into that,
Voice acting, that would be my way, though.
rough year, man. Summer,
not in a room.
Summer almost broke me. I had some dark days, and I'm just wondering how you guys
with a microphone.
how you got through it. How you doing? How's everybody?
And just having people watch you do it.
I'm doing okay.
You got the wild COVID hair.
Yeah, I got the
which
wild
looks
COVID hair.
amazing.
I've gained
Yes,
a few
you have.
pounds.
More to cuddle.
Lot of junk food.
Yes.
Lot of food delivery and picking up stuff and
Great.
just eating whatever. But yeah, I mean, I have two young kids. They're both in school, so they've been doing their Zoom classrooms, and that's been kind of just the way it's been for the last year, is like having 2 Zoom sessions going there and then having one
No worries, Crappy.
recording VO for me. So there's like 3 Zoom sessions going pretty much all day long. But otherwise, it hasn't been too bad. I mean, I've always been kind of an introvert anyway, so like just being at home has been okay. I do really miss, like, I actually didn't really realize until today how much I missed the human contact, because I saw Max and I was like, what's up, man? And I saw Alex, and I saw Deborah, and I just met Ray, and it just, that's when you really start to realize how much you miss that human connection when you have a little taste of it. And yeah, so I mean, that's how it's been for me. But funnily enough, I got back into World of Warcraft during the pandemic.
Good to hear.
So I started playing BFA again, and I started doing old content, and then now playing Shadowlands. So that's kind of been a cool social thing for me to do, just to go and feel like I'm getting out somewhere, and questing and doing things with other people, and that's been kind of nice for my sanity.
Yes, the World of Warcraft saved you. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like half the reason I do voiceover is because there's the creative part of it, but there's also the being able to see people. So that's really been tough for me, even though it's been nice that I get to continue to record from my home studio, which is just my walk-in closet. I still am missing such a huge component, which is going in and having that interaction. And as much of an introvert as I am, like Josh, I realized in quarantine just how much I miss getting to see people face to face. And like the session we had, it's so much easier to sort of execute, you know, your vision and sort of come together collaboratively when we're all in the same room. But yeah, and you know, I miss that. But Netflix has been nice. And Delivery.
Yes.
And Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
And
Great show.
Queen's Gambit.
Yes.
So
yes.
good.
Queen's
You're
Gambit,
doing
bang.
okay. You held steady.
I'm doing okay. I have ups and downs, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on what I have to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm feeling the most depressed, I think about all the things that I do have.
Yes.
So.
I feel like I'm never going to take a hug for granted again. I mean,
Yep.
I mean, when I do sneak in a rogue hug every once in a while, it's so much more meaningful now. I feel like I'll never take human touch for granted again, you know? And to your point, focusing on gratitude, because there's some dark days, man, and then you just got to go, okay, you know what? Just sit down and calm down and eat some potato chips.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. What about you guys?
This
Alex?
panel's always banging.
Before too, it's been interesting with this whole time that we're living in. It's like, you know, I'll have a couple of days where I'm on point. We're good. And then the next day I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I'll get back to being good. And it's an interesting thing, because I thought it was just me until I talked to my friends. They're like, no, that's happening to me as well. So the odd thing about this whole time is, as alone as we feel, we're not alone, because everybody seems to be going through the same thing. And
Just turning into therapy or what? What's going on here?
I've been searching for silver linings everywhere, and I've been finding them everywhere. And I don't know about you guys. Have you guys reached out to people you haven't talked to
Oh yeah.
for years?
Yes.
Now talk about, finding some light and some dark. There it is right there. So that being said, I'm grateful for that, and that golf is a social distance sport.
Right.
Or rather game, because if you can smoke while you're doing it, it's a game.
Right.
So no, I'm really grateful. It's like really finding the little things, and the fact that we get to do this.
The fact that we're here right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like when we all got here, like I said earlier, we went wild like little puppies, because how lucky we are to be here right now. And when I say we, I don't just mean us, I mean all of you at home. I want you to know that for all of us, we're holding you in our hearts. You're here with us right now. So we all get to do this right now. Ray, Deborah, how are you holding steady?
The interesting thing for me is I don't have children, and I'm not married. So the complexities of having a family, the complexities of being married, and holding those relationships in a different space, I get why people go like, it's driving me mad, or all these things. But I've always been this person who is living her first childhood, not her second, but at my age, living my first childhood. And I've never let that go, because I've been honored and privileged to be married but divorced, have my own space pretty much for a very long time, and have scorpions and tarantulas and fish and a dog, and do whatever I want, and get tattooed and pierced. So there was always this sense of privilege of my own that I've created for myself. And as a kid, I was always that homebody. I never considered myself by myself, but with myself. And the darker stuff for me was prior to any of this in years. It was a dark descent in my own personal life for many other reasons. And I'm talking very, very dark, where it was rock bottom. And because I had hit such powerful, dark rock bottoms, I knew that I would never go there again. And it was important for me to stay spiritually grounded, because I knew that everything has a rise and an emergence, and everything happens for a reason, and everything has to be spilled out to examined and look, so that we can discern and disseminate the
She uses her
mysteries
hand
of who we
gestures a
are
lot.
in the center of it all. So when we're privileged and when we're in our bubbles, everything is comfortable, and we find that balance no matter what is teetering in our life. But when something like this happens, it really calls upon us to bring ourselves into a different type of light, and to accept our darkness, because that's how we transmute it into light. You know, the light is just not there. The light is already within you, but it's okay. And giving yourself the opportunity to say, you know what, it's okay that I feel this way. It's okay that I'm going through this. I'm fine with this, because I'm gonna use this to transmute it into something else. And it took me a long time to do that prior to any of this, in such a dark descent in my life, that I was prepared. And in the process of being prepared, the one thing I wanted to not lose control of, even though I was out of control of a lot of things in the world and what was happening, is I was always going to be in control of my compassion, my kindness. I was always going to be in control of calling the people I love and say, hey, I haven't called you in a while, and the reason I'm calling you is because of this pandemic. And I want to know how you are, and I haven't spoken to you in a while, and thank goodness for Zoom, and thank goodness for FaceTime. And being able to go, all of those things I can now use in such a powerful way to connect, because I was making sure that I stayed connected and bolstered to myself, to my higher self. But it took me, like I said, not so much the pandemic for that to happen, but stuff prior to that was so dark that I just knew I could never go back there again. So when this dark happened, I thought more of other people who have families, who have friends, who've lost jobs, who've lost brothers and sisters and family members, who are suffering right now, who are in pain, who don't want to hear the happy side of my own life. But I want to be able to go compassionate-wise, this ain't about me. This is about you sharing where you are so I can step into your shoes and ask you, how can I serve you even from a distance?
Yeah.
What kind of love can I give from you from a distance? What can we share so that you can talk about and completely vomit out everything you need to that's going on in your personal life so that you go, I feel better. Now let's talk about the fun for a moment. And let's get back to telling each other how much we love each other.
Yeah, and amen. And I mean, that's why, this sounds like a joke. It's not. There's times, I don't know if I've told you, I'll have a bad day, and I'm not kidding. I go, what would Deborah do right now? I'm not even kidding. I'm not, because I feel like it's easy to go to this kind of dark place, but you are such a bastion of light and power in this world, and that's a great example of it. And I really mean that, because you see things differently in a way that reminds us how to be human. So I think that one of the benefits of this pandemic is slowing us down and connecting us in ways that we've in some ways we forgot how to be connected. We're so distracted with this and that, and now it's slowed us down to stay connected.
Absolutely, because you know what? This is only reflective of the viruses that we haven't killed, killed within ourselves.
I know, that's
our
so true.
complacency.
Yes, all of
our
it.
fear, all of the things that we haven't grown within ourselves, our hatred. Because this is not just about the pandemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, the rise of the LGBTQ community. People who are choosing to really experience and express their authentic self without the fear of violence. And living, and this is the 21st century we're talking about, where people are still being killed for a belief system. And for who they truly are to live their authentic selves. And because of that, there are so many viruses that we have to look at in ourselves that we go, what am I doing in the center of this? Who am I in the center of this? What am I contributing to the
She going off track, fam. She going off track. What's she doing?
Steve and Ray, I'm sorry, but
I don't
I mean, what else can you say?
I played a lot of video games this year. Yeah, it was really rough.
Ray, how have you survived? So how
She
you
did
been
speak
doing?
a bit too
Ray
much, I would
also
say
has
that.
The best COVID hair. I would kill for that hair.
Thank you.
So Ray, how have you been doing? You're supposed to be sitting in the Sardonathrius pose, by the way.
It just happened to be
Later.
that I ended up getting the largest seat in the room.
So how have you survived all this? Are you doing all right?
We had an odd thing. We got married. We had a very poorly.
Congratulations.
We had a very poorly timed wedding. It was March 21st of last year, and it was originally like a 50-person wedding, and then the week before it was, we can't gather in groups of more than 20. It's now a 20-person wedding, and then it was 5, and then at the very end it was in our backyard. And 2 people showed up. Just her parents.
But so special.
It was really, it ended up being special, and we got the cake all to ourselves. So it ended up being okay,
So you made it through all right. That's lovely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's great. It's nice, these things, it's like I feel like these things that happen to us mean more than just a blur in a timeline. Now every little thing matters. Steve, what about you? How you doing? Because you had to keep yourself healthy and then write a game about the afterlife. So how are you? Then start there. How are you? How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Like everybody else, there's ups and downs, but it's, the important thing to remember is that none of this is an equation to be solved. Like you don't just figure it out and go, okay, I'm good now. It's fine to have those ups and downs, to have good days and bad days. That's natural.
And just weather the storms.
And just weather the storm and just, keep pushing forward. But
so what was it like then? It was just so weird that we're this game Shadowlands and the themes of it while there's a pandemic going on. So did you have to meet with a team to kind of go, okay, we're going to go into this dark place while the world is kind of dark? What was that creative process like?
Well, it was, we were already had things underway. These expansions take so long to, from first conception to agreeing upon, the basic ideas to developing those out. So everybody knew what we were going to be doing. Everybody was already kind of bought into that. But, the crazy thing is that so much of my job, like I have two major phases of it. And the first phase is like getting people together and jamming on ideas and sharing story ideas and going back and forth and kind of honing out so those best ideas rise to the top. And that's it's always been a very in-person thing. It's people gathered around, we're all sitting around a table, we're all jamming on stuff and just feeding off one another's energy, and that face-to-face connection was super important to that. And then another part of my job is, after those ideas get distilled down, is kind of like preaching it to other people, like going to different groups, to the engineers, to the sound team, to whomever, and saying, this is what we're doing, and getting all excited about it. Again, a very face-to-face thing, and feeding off people's energies and seeing how they're reacting to, like, what are they raising their eyebrows at? What are they nodding to? All those kinds of cues that are so important in this physical space. And when we first all went home, and we didn't know how long it would be for. Will it be for a couple weeks, for a month, for who knows? I remember that first week, we started having Zoom meetings and stuff like that, and I just thought, oh my God, this is not going to work. I'm a failure. I'm gonna lose it. This is where the rug gets pulled out, and this is people figure me out now that I can't do this. And that first week was really hard, and I questioned myself, and I just doubted whether we could do this.
I think everybody did.
And then the second week got a little easier, and started making those connections. And some of those meetings were like, man, that was really good. Like, had some of that same energy. And by the third week, I didn't have any doubts anymore. I knew that we could do it. I knew it would take longer. I knew that it would be harder, and we would have those ups and downs, and we'd have fits and starts and all that sort of thing. But from that point on, I never questioned that we would make something great.
Yes, that's great.
Because even through the screens and through the wires and this distance and everything, I still felt that connection to the people that I'm in the trenches with every day. And we carried that forth from the game team to these acting sessions, the voice sessions, and just that energy and that power and that trust was super important, and that's what got us through.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully said. I feel like for myself and probably all of you, but for Steve and I working at Blizzard on this game, it's like a mission, a goal. We knew we had something bigger to work on it, and rather than, there's sometimes I didn't want to get out of bed, and I didn't, but then there's days when I'm like, we got to get up, we got to do this game, we got to commit. So even though we were distant, because Blizzard very much is a tribe, it's really palpable, but I think to your point, there was something greater than ourselves that kept us going.
Yeah.
And these are some dark tones in this game. I mean, did that come up? I mean, you had to write some heavy content.
It is, but I think of Shadowlands as a very optimistic expansion.
Yeah, what's your take on the game? I want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, when it was great to have essentially a blank canvas to think about what does the afterlife for World of Warcraft mean. We've gone to all these crazy places. We've gone to hidden places on Azeroth. We've gone to other worlds, time-wiminess, all that sort of stuff. And this was a chance to go to this entirely different reality, basically, that had only been hinted at before. We'd only talked about Shadowlands as a concept, and we'd had some characters like Bwansamdi who had given us little footholds and dipped our toes into the realm of death before, but we had never fully immersed ourselves into it.
I can't wait for him to do his voice
One of the things that I kind of fixated on early on was this idea that humans, we think of death, we think of that as an ending, but for the Shadowlands, death is just a beginning. Death is a source of energy. Death is a source of existence for all these people. And there's lines in game where some of the characters who exist in the Shadowlands, even though they are of death, I always say it's death with a capital D, death as an energy, death as a force.
Death as an energy, that's heavy.
Death is a kind of magic that animates all of these things. So the irony is that even in this realm of supposed death, things are very much alive, and there's characters there, people that you make connections with, as many of the characters here.
Yes, I got Battle.net open in the back.
Players feel just as real a connection to someone like Erelon, or when they're in the raid against Sire Denathrius and all the things that he said. Like, those are real connections, and it doesn't matter that this is an Afterlife setting. It's still World of Warcraft, and at the end of the day, that's what people come back to and are drawn to.
Absolutely. And I really want to talk about all the work that our actors did, but I want you to talk about one thing you were talking about before the cameras rolled, and that was, we were saying Josh is a big WoW player, in case you guys don't know. I mean, you can talk WoW probably more than Steve.
Oh, he's after my job. We all know.
Totally. Well, we don't really need you anymore. He's got better hair.
Yeah,
so
I know. He's got hair.
But we were talking, you were saying how in Shadowlands, and I know from having to cast 1 million races, that we have more races than ever. And I want you to talk about how you approached writing it with all the realms and the Post-it notes and because that's bananas. I want to know how you got from that crazy writing process to these great people here today.
Yeah, well, it is, creating this is no one person's job, first of all. To make that clear, like, I work with tremendous people. Yes. We have tremendous
I want this camera to zoom out again.
Artists and engineers and just a whole team that lives and breathes this world.
I want to see what Jaka is doing.
So everything I do is a
or
collaboration.
Deborah, I think her name?
Anything on my own.
Yes.
So we lift each other up, and when people have good days, they help everyone, and when they have bad days, then they lean on other people, and that's super important. But for my part of it, I'm always try to focus on the big picture and like, what does Shadowlands mean, and what are the themes that we're going to be exploring as we're telling these stories? And so I literally mapped out this corkboard that once we had settled on what our realms would be, the realms of death, Revendreth and Ardenweald and Bastion and Maldraxxus and the Maw, I started making little notes
Let's
about
skip
what
that Maldraxxus.
words-
How do
what
you do this
words
to
are
me?
associated with these places. So places like Revendreth, that was about pride, but also about redemption in ways, and sin and arrogance, but also finding a path to pay for those sins. Maldraxxus was about struggle. It was about chaos. It was about rising up a ladder to prove yourself. There are good qualities in that as well. And so it was about finding all of those themes for all of these different places. And then I could look at that and see how a theme in Bastion connected to a theme in Maldraxxus. And then that's a great fodder for a quest designer to go in and say, oh, I can build a line that takes me from this place to this place. And then now I have characters that have something in common that they can interact. So places that on the surface look very different from one another actually have a lot of threads connecting them. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of WoW, is that kind of storytelling where there's so many threads that are connecting characters and connecting points in time and connecting places. It just makes it feel like a lived-in world, and we wanted that for the Shadowlands as well.
I was teasing Steve saying that he probably looked like a serial killer with his little, no, it's the cops who do that with the boards and the thread and the yarn and mapping it all with crazy scribbles over the wall. I wish I could see a picture of your house during Shadowlands, just of all these crazy notes and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so Revendreth was sin and purging. Maldraxxus was kind of survival. Ardenweald?
Ardenweald is about renewal. It's about, there's a side to it that is sleep and restoration. But then there's a part of waking up too. It's part of a cycle. That's the key thing about Revendreth. It plays a unique part in the Shadowlands because it is where life and death intersect. And there's a lot of, we're going to be exploring that in that relationship in future content as well, because it is a key thing that death doesn't stand on its own. Death and life are intertwined, both for our players' characters who are living mortals, traversing the realms of death, but also for these forces that are in this realm of death themselves. They know that they have this connection to this other force, life with a capital L, if you will.
It's just so powerful to talk about during these crazy times, right? But the million-dollar question for me, which I was teasing you about, but I want an answer. If you die in the afterlife, you're double dead? What are you? I just want to clarify.
The answer is
if you die in
different
the
depending
afterlife.
on if you're living more. Let's just not get into
Okay. Can you work on that for me? I need you to work on that for
I'm
me.
happy to answer it
I love
for
when I see the
you.
tweets going, yo, I'm dead in the afterlife. Does that mean I'm
double dead?
Double dead. Double dead.
If you want the real answer, it's our player characters, like, as Josh knows well, when they die,
I mean, you
something
resurrect.
nudges them back to life, some force, some tether, some connection.
Okay.
And that is because our heroes, our player characters, are tied to the life force of Azeroth itself, and it's that connection that keeps them going, even
Spirit
when
healers.
It's really beautiful. I mean, it's just really beautiful how what you're talking about is a video game, yes, but so much of it can apply to real life and death and the connections in death that stay with us and push us forward. That's what was so heavy in these moments of recording Shadowlands. I myself, we've had several sessions, many sessions, I would argue, that really brought us to tears, that were heavy, that were intense, and all of that. So I think that's a great segue. I'm going to kind of go around for our fans at home. I'm going to talk to each actor about their roles. We've got some great footage of everything they did, because we really did have some magical moments, many magical moments in the recording of Shadowlands, I would say. And one of the first that I can recall is my beautiful Erelon in the Ardenweald piece. I mean, I got to tell you, our cinematic director, Mark Messengers, that was his piece, and I told you this. Mark had to leave Max's session when we recorded for Ardenweald because he was crying so much he had to walk out of the booth. Because even when I watch it now, I've directed you in that piece, and I've seen the piece, and it still gets me.
Yeah.
So I remember that day like it was yesterday. Let's watch some footage of it first so we can remind everybody. Then I want to talk to you about it because it's just delight. It's just poetry.
Great.
So we're going to see Erelon in the Ardenweald piece.
Not one of my favorites, but I do love Ardenweald as his own.
You will not be forgotten. Forgive me, friend.
I do. I like the artsy style.
Hunt for you, my queen.
But yeah, I do prefer an actual cinematic over these, but I do like these. These are unique and different every now and then, but I wouldn't like it all the time.
I can yet save. I swear it. I swear it.
It just gets you, right? It just, I can't make it through that piece. And to, we recorded this before COVID hit, and watching it now, I feel like I see it even deeper and more profoundly because, I lost my 19-year-old cat last Christmas, and when every time I watch it, I think, or of any loss that we have, and the grief yet beauty in it. So, do you remember that? I remember that day. Like it was yesterday.
I do. It's such a heartbreaking story. By the way, something I just noticed is that the Winter Queen gets teary-eyed in the visual, which is like, whoa, for her to. My mom actually, when she watched this, she never cries at animated stuff, right? But she called me and she was like, I just watched your. I was like, yes. But it's a heartbreaking thing that he has to go through. He's sworn this oath to protect his grove, these souls, and he's given a choice where he can continue to protect the one soul that's left, or he can serve the greater good. He can sacrifice this soul for the greater good, and he chooses the greater good. And it's a Sophie's choice. It's
absolutely
just so heartbreaking.
I want to protect the one soul because there's another way to protect the greater good. Trust.
I was in a weird creative rut in my life, in my acting
They let my
career,
bear buddy die.
and which can happen to all creative people. It can happen to writers. It can happen to singers and musicians and dancers and everybody. So I was in that place where I felt like I was doing the same thing sort of over and over and over again. And rarely do you get to work on something that is so filled with this, it's so well written, it's got so much for you to grasp as an actor. The lore, there's so much there.
They have ways to protect everybody
I remember
else.
leaving that session feeling the complete opposite.
That one soul was not going to save everything.
I told you, it was such an honor to be able to do that. And you only get to really do this kind of thing with video games, I feel like, for voice acting. Or it's rare that you get to do it with other forms of
But I understand it's a video game and it's for story purposes.
I was just so thrilled. So thrilled. And like, part of the reason that, like I said, that I'm able to feel this way is because the writing is so good. Like, I can go in and, I don't know about you guys, when you're creating a character, when you're auditioning for a character, I latch on to like adjectives because it's the easiest thing to use. So for Erelon, that's he's loyal, he's dedicated, he's compassionate, he's strong-willed, and all these things create like one layer of a character. But having the writing be so rich, when you get to the session, you learn these other things about the world and the character and how he relates and these threads that connect, it adds a whole nother layer, and I think that's what you need if you want a character to be compelling. So it's just such a joy as an actor to be able to work on this kind of thing.
And I remember talking to you in the kitchen that day because we got a lot of auditions in for Erelon, and yours was just, if we had used your audition for the piece, it would have been perfect. And we talked about your preparation, like you put work, maybe like you're saying the adjective. So what, for a character like Erelon, how did you prepare to audition? Because your audition was perfect. Do you remember what you did?
Thank you. It's with an audition, it's tough. There was an image in the audition. I remember it said something like, a picture is so helpful. To see a picture, I don't even think it was finished.
Right,
It
that's
wasn't
correct.
the real thing. But it's very helpful to have a picture and sort of the adjectives together. There was a little backstory, so I could latch onto that as well. But you're taking big swings. So, I don't really have the answers when I'm in the audition, so I took some swings, and luckily,
it was great.
Yeah, it worked.
And for me, I think Erelon, and Steve, what do you think? I feel like with Erelon, there's such a juxtaposition of raw vulnerability and delicacy, but yet power and strength and courage. So for me, Erelon's one of my favorites because he does balance out those two things. Is that how you perceive Erelon? I mean, he's just such a magnificent character.
Yeah, and for people who, a little insight into our process, typically the way that it works is we'll write up on our side, we'll write up like a casting sheet for this is who the character is, and this is what role it's going to play in the game, and this is what is important about it, and we give that to you, and then you'll usually doctor it up so that you're not revealing any of our secrets in the lore deep dives
throwing
and stuff.
some actor speak into it.
You're giving the actors what they need to be able to pull from that. And so, yeah, those were the things that were super important about Erelon. And then you deliver a batch of auditions, and we listen to them together, and I give you my thoughts on those.
And like, ignore everything you tell me.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But we find what that core is, and like, what are the things that stand out about this audition?
Do I sleep? Yes,
really
after I
hit
live
into that
stream.
character. And that was the thing. It was Erelon needed to be sincere. He needed.
I
to
got
be
lucky to
someone
be able to
that
stream
you could tell
BlizzCon
he
earlier
cared
today.
about what
I
he did.
usually
And so that was what was so crucial about that performance. And
right when you
made it
left,
perfect.
I finished
I've seen
that segment, and then I went to
cinematic
work,
from,
and now I'm
because
back.
It was made by our story and franchise team, and but
I
I'm
usually
in the
work
room
during
from,
the
like,
day, though.
first script
So that's
and
why I'm
going
always
over
streaming at
notes and
night.
everything, and storyboards to like early animatic to the art pieces coming in, temp voiceover, and all that kind of stuff. Every time I cried with that, like every time I could see it. And then when the final performance came in and the music came in, I freaking lost it.
I know.
Because it was just so perfectly done. It just brought everything together.
And I'm going to tell you something I didn't tell you. Whenever I sent the casting doc out, I listened to everything and I gave everybody a chance for sure. But I knew it had to be you. Because I always look for actors. All of you here to me represent, I always look, successful casting is when the person themselves really connects with the character. And you are so full of love and light and beauty and strength and endurance and power. So I knew that your heart would come through so powerfully, and it did.
Thanks.
So I love you so much. Erelon was such a beautiful piece, and I treasure it, that session so much.
It's
so.
one of my
Well, that's
favorite
nice.
that I've ever done.
Yes, it's wonderful. Great. Well, so happy to have you here.
I don't know when I'm working.
So of course that leads us to Sire Denathrius, and I love that I said
I do and I don't.
actors who connect to their character. So
Pure
clearly,
evil.
Pure evil. When I think about Ray Chase, it's pure evil.
Yeah.
I've known him for a long time, and I can confirm.
Pure
Yeah,
evil.
there's nothing
Pure
redeeming.
menacing evil.
Not nothing.
So-
But good looking.
Yeah, very great.
But it happens anytime during the day,
Something someone
and
evil would say.
So
that's
before
why I
we
don't
talk to you,
stream during the day,
listen
'cause I wouldn't have a
to you. I could
consistent
just-
schedule.
All of your pieces I could watch over and over, but
I would love to
Denathrius,
stream
what a
during the
nasty
day
person to
if I
love.
can grow
Yes,
these
absolutely.
channels.
So let's watch the lovely Revendreth piece. Let's watch that.
To the good people of Revendreth, it is with optimism that I address you today. Though these are...
I can't wait till the end of this segment to when they actually... they usually have the voice
I assure
actors
you that our
and
holy
actress
mission to help the most
perform some of the lines. I can't wait for Blomstomp to
for
do
their
his.
sins is and always will be our utmost priority.
Oh, that's cool.
Are effective.
Pizza Hut be banging.
Judgment keen, but fair.
It's actually my
We
favorite
then
food.
fear remain committed to
One
bringing
of my favorite
eventual
foods.
redemption to all who desire it. It is through your faithful work that even the most evil and prideful beings may ultimately be spared an eternity in the maw.
God, it's so good. It's so good.
Just the juxtaposition of what
I know, and I'm like, that voice is coming out of this
I
person.
know.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
That is my natural speaking voice.
Yeah,
I
if
put
I
on
were
it
you,
there.
I would talk like that all the damn time at the drive-thru. You name it, I would talk like that. But I remember your session so clearly because I remember we played classical music in your cans. And you had
Yes.
like a cup of tea.
I had
and
a
you,
tea,
Yes,
yeah.
and you just so delicately drank the tea. So talk to us about. I want to know where did this voice come from? He's amazing.
I like any
where-
pizza
where
though.
Denathrius came
Just
from.
pizza in
Yeah,
general.
coming from being just, I just wanted the most, we use that word a lot, delicious, to talk about this
Delicious.
character, but just a nice, silky, deep voice, and of course it has to be British. I'm really glad, I'm very thankful to you, Steve, for letting me say Revendreth a lot, because it has two R's that I can roll. Revendreth, all the time. It's so nice.
It's so good.
And I'm glad Max didn't snipe my story, but we both did our
That's this guy,
same
Sire
week. And we
Denathrius.
called each other at some point to check in because we were always talking with each other, and we both said at the same time, I had the best session I ever had. And it was, and both of us just said, yeah, it was these for Warcraft. It was incredible. Just the directing, the writing, the characterization, and yeah.
And that was another thing I forgot that you do this. I don't think anybody else has done this, where they play music in your cans, and it's
changes
such
it.
delight. It
Oh,
changes
God.
everything.
Yes.
That's so cool that there was classical music.
Oh, yes, it was
playing.
so
It was the
perfect,
music
this
from the
tea.
trailer, yeah.
Yes.
It was perfect, and then you had me drink tea before saying every single line because he's in that drinking anima from a glass. It was perfect. I first met you at a casting workshop 7 years
That's
ago.
hard
and
to
I
believe.
remember you saying that that you always are looking for creative ways of getting performers to do their job, and being able to work on this with all of the cool bells and whistles, the Andrea.
I've said this before. The voice actors panels,
super
no matter the
fun.
game.
I absolutely loved it.
Both World of Warcraft and Overwatch, though, mainly.
Vampire lore. Well, I think for us it was easy.
I love these panels. I don't know why. They're just fun to see what they do behind the
I couldn't
scenes.
believe it, and this was before COVID. I
Yes.
address you today through these challenging times.
Yeah,
Perfect
totally.
timing. It was crazy that so much of real world stuff was reflected in this.
It's crazy.
The big lie, saying the thing that accusing somebody else of doing the thing that you are doing, which is all that speech is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was very timely and interesting.
So where did you was it thinking about politicians? I think we were thinking about World War II propaganda. I forget what was in, how did you think you created him? Like, what would you base him on if you had to kind of piece him together?
Oh man, I mean, big and blue.
Yeah.
And really, just, I don't know. I think that he loves himself more than anything. That's why he'll put himself before, he's supposed to be in charge of this place, but all he's doing is farming all of this anima and using it all for himself and his cronies. I think that's really what that character is about. And he's got a cool sword that he doesn't even have to swing himself. It just goes on its own. I don't know. I just think he's such a well-designed character.
He's wonderful. Every time he talks, I think everybody stops because that voice coming out is amazing.
Yeah.
So I just think you did him beautifully. And I'm just so happy to bring you here to celebrate because all the feedback, people went mental over Denathrius because I don't know, like you luxuriate in your consonants, right?
Yes, exactly.
It was just amazing. Yeah. And I do want to point out that Ray did choose the biggest chair for himself in this whole time. We got to choose our own seat.
It wasn't like a hesitation thing. It was like, no, that's mine.
Oh, my throne, thank you.
Yeah. And again, I'm casting people who connect with their characters a little too well. So
yes, no, I have no problem.
Oh, we love him. He's just fantastic.
Thank you.
Leader of the vampires. So it's so great to really celebrate the pieces that we did: Ardenweald, Revendreth, and now Maldraxxus, with our fabulous orc queen goddess that is you. And
Draka.
I still remember your session. Working with Deborah is magic because Deborah. I will watch Deborah, and she physically, you can watch her. You haven't been to session yet with Deborah. She physically transforms. You just see like, zzz, and then it's just Draka. And the power that you bring to her is amazing. So let's watch a little bit of Draka to celebrate your magic, and then we'll come and chat.
Well, I know all of this. This is my covenant.
I was Draka of the Frost Wolf clan, a warrior who gave everything.
I can't picture this voice from her.
To protect what mattered.
A little bit, but still.
But I was not done fighting.
Oh, that's it? Okay, no.
I am Draka, once of the Frost Wolf clan, now Baroness of the House of the Chosen. And most of all, a protector of Maldraxxus.
So good. I tell you, to have such a strong, powerful female character that doesn't mess around is so inspiring. And I remember, Deborah, when you were in session recording this piece, I mean, you always stand upright, but I remember you just, the power and the steel in your spine when you recorded was, and your eyes were so focused, just amazing. So talk about that voice and how you brought her to life and what she means to you, all of that, because she's phenomenal.
Draka is powerful because she's been tortured. Tortured emotionally, tortured psychologically, tortured by death, tortured by life. And as an orc, that has to be used from the deepest part of one's body because nothing will ever get solved. It's an evolutionary process of saving and saving again and building your integrity and building your strength and building your character based on all the pain. And so the pain is important because it doesn't overwhelm you as a feminine or female energy. It only empowers you as what most people would see in society would be masculine. And it's not masculine. It's feminine energy. And that feminine space that she comes from is the loss of a child.
Yes.
And so she could either curl up and die, but that's not the orc way. And she uses that as something to push past the pain, drag it with her into missions, drag it with her into the statement of who she is and every experience that will take her on this journey. But doesn't use it as a reason or excuse of anything.
How did you pull that off?
It's almost like
I've always wanted to cosplay as a
and
World of
keeping
Warcraft
the talisman
character.
inside your
Mainly a
clothes.
warlock, but
And
still.
no one needs to see it and no one needs to know that it's there, but it's close to your body, it's close to your heart, and you wear it on the inside but never on the out.
I love it. So what part of you do you connect with? Like, what part of Deborah do you see as
All
the
of it.
All of it, absolutely.
All of it. And the reason is because we're telling their orcs and their demons and their creatures and their characters and their vampires, but it's important for me when I go into a booth to tell and transmute the experience in a human story in terms of why people want to relate. And unless I'm putting something very personal in it, it's going to be a challenge for people to relate, and I will miss an aspect of authenticity. And for me personally, I can't afford to miss the authenticity because the story is much greater than me. The epic journey that you created for this character is a huge
She's had a long journey.
And in taking on that responsibility, the part of the luggage that I bring with me, the part of the stuff that I have to bring with me is my own personal stuff, whether you know where it's coming from or not, or whether it's coming from those spaces that were created ideas and identity to build this being. I have to make it personal. I have to go deep, and I have to bring that to the surface of everything. My anger, my pain, my fear, my desire, my drive, my intention. Because unless I'm doing that, then I'm
That's
missing
so
something.
cool.
And
I would have loved to have seen that.
Inspired me because I refuse to miss something.
That's right. That's right. And talk about your physicality, because every character, Deborah has voiced a million amazing. There's no small role for you. Every character we give you, it just becomes something much bigger. But one thing I love about you is you physically transform. You commit your body.
I'm so shocked that they did not bring Sylvanas to
It's a
this.
big thing. I see you physically shift.
To this panel. They've had her in every single year, and she's always a fan favorite, but I'm assuming it's because she's not one of the core characters at this moment in time. Unlike these ones, these are pretty much the characters at this moment in time. I know for a fact the next Blizzcon she will definitely be there.
Even if I'm home in a booth or even if I'm in a studio, it has to disappear. And it has to disappear because I'm focused on every relationship. I don't call it a relationship, every relationship. And in relating to everything, the environment, the temperature, what's below my feet. I'm grounding myself because I'm not wearing shoes, so I'll take my shoes off so that I can feel the expansion of what my orc feet would be on the ground. The air, am I seeing breath? Am I hearing things behind me? And the microphone disappears, and that becomes the being that I'm talking to. So when I asked to do another take, it's because they responded differently. And I need to say this again to them because they shifted away. Their eyes changed. They looked down. They are paying attention. And so each time
I agree
my
completely,
intention
by the way.
begins to grow
Sylvanas
and
is my
layer
favorite character
because they
in
did something different
World of
as I
Warcraft.
see them. So
Number
that's why
one.
when I have a
And
tendency with
Blomzombie
Andrea
to me is
Andrea
number
to do
2,
this.
and I'm glad he's on this panel
Because I
today.
noticed they looked different. They had a different shift in their body. And when I recognize that shift, it helps to layer it. And at the same time, as I'm doing voice, it helps to give you different
Number
choices
3
as
is just
well.
pretty much demons all around on World of Warcraft.
Were you going to say something?
Yeah, and this is why it had to be Draka and it had to be Deborah, because when we're dealing with this place Maldraxxus, this afterlife about contention and strife and proving yourself, we had a million characters we could draw from.
But
there are
Sylvanas
any
and
number
Bwonsamdi
from
are definitely my
the
favorite.
past of World of Warcraft that we could have plugged into Maldraxxus, and it would have been awesome. It would have been great. But Draka was important because her story is among the most human of stories. It is, like you were saying, it's a story of loss. It's about building yourself up, proving yourself up, and having it snatched away from you. And we all know what that is. We all have experienced that at points in our life. And Draka has a chance to take all of that and build a new future for herself and for this place. And so to be able to do that, you need a special actor to bring that to life. And that's what you have
Deborah
done so
Powers.
masterfully.
So powerfully. All of you, I mean, I really feel like all the casting we've done with our lead characters, all of you emulate our characters. So much of what our fans at home might love about these characters, you're actually loving the essence of these amazing humans on stage. I mean, honestly, it's just such a beautiful thing to behold, and we're so lucky to have you here. So we couldn't have a story about the afterlife without
Let's
our
go,
love of death.
my boy.
Steve and I think we're personally both in love with Alex, aren't we? We
Oh,
do talk.
absolutely.
We are so
This
completely.
guy.
We have like Alex. No, Steve and I have shared like I love Alex. No, I love him more. No,
Yeah.
I love him more.
Seriously, texting videos back
Oh
and
my
forth.
God.
Did you see this performance?
We love him so.
Yes.
We love you so much.
He
So
was
let's
in
see
last
why we
year's
love you.
panel.
A, you're so dapper and handsome, but let's see your footage as well because
My
we love
ears
you.
are red now.
Ah.
Let's go.
Well, this is a surprise. You're looking pretty good, Your Majesty. So, why have you come to see me?
I need your aid.
I see. You want to make a deal with me. Go on, go on.
Become my Loa. Grant me the power to recover my kingdom, and I will elevate you above all Loa.
Yes, yes, so you get your kingdom back. All very nice. But soon you'll tired of old Bwonsamdi. You go back to the living Loa, the one who bring the rain, makes the crops grow, not wither and die. No, no, no. I need more than just your word.
Got so good.
What the
You know,
heck?
it's so
He's
hard. I
so
have to choose a
good.
clip, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna choose like 10-second clips. I couldn't. For all of you, I'm like, no, 15, 20, 30. Okay, 2 minutes. I need 2 minutes of the footage. It's so good.
Oh, thank
I
you.
know you were on a panel before, but where does he come from? I feel like I'm watching a gangster flick every time he comes on screen.
Well, first off, I want to say that I'm very jealous of his gun. Got to work on that. No, Bwonsamdi. Actually, no. What I do love about Bwonsamdi is that I get to tap into something I never get to do in my other acting career, is to be the mischievous, devilish, evil, but lovable guy. To me is fascinating. Initially, I think I got the idea for what I wanted to do from watching an old movie called Rockers, this old Jamaican movie. And there's some old Rastas in there. And the way everything them say is so deliberate. And then somehow when we got in the booth, we started playing with it and made them lighter and darker at the same time. And I don't know how we caught it, but it was that thing where you go, there it is, let's go. And really, I say this in all sincerity, this is one of the joys of my life, is when I get to play.
We love him so much, and I think, Steve, you can attest, the fans are nuts over Bwonsamdi. And I think I talked about this on the last voice actor panel with you, but every time when we record in session, Alex doesn't stand behind the mic and record. He kind of does this like dapper.
Kind of got to lay.
Yeah, he kind of just lingers on his music. Yeah, totally. We have to keep moving the mic
Moon
because Alex
accent,
just kind
Moe.
of lingers. And like,
Yeah.
what do you want? Oh my God.
Well, it's
He's
interesting. It's
amazing.
great hearing this too, like what you were just talking about, and just how the physicality helps you.
Absolutely.
It helps you so much. And yeah, this cat's laid back, so come on, bring it.
So good.
You know, so much fun.
Yeah.
It's-
So what do you think he means when you create him? Is it kind of tapping into those old Rasta and?
Yeah, started with the Rasta, and then Bwonsamdi, and I was like, oh, Bwonsamdi.
Ah.
Oh, we're going to Haiti,
That's right.
and okay, I've heard about this stuff, and so I was tapping into that. Yes, Jeffrey Holder was also in my brain, but yeah, it was just tapping into that and the idea of the darkness, but also not darkness, mischievousness.
Yes.
And it's how mischievous can we get? How can we ride that line? Just get right there.
Right there.
And I just love being able to just don't mess with me. It's really.
I think you're right. I think he really is dark and light. And Steve, every time we're in session with you, Alex, we just laugh and laugh. Like you just find these interesting peaks and valleys and deliveries, and it's just he takes these lines and suddenly it's like a whole other thing. I mean,
Well, the joy is that yes, we knew going into the sessions for Shadowlands with Alex, like we're so excited. We're like, oh, we can't wait to get Alex in the booth. It's going to be magical. But you never know when the magic is going to come, because you can write the lines, you can think a certain thing and plan for it, and then he finds just something else, and it's just delightful, and we collapse on the floor laughing. Do that again. Do that again.
My favorite is this. We'll do the line, be like, wait, hold on. I want to try it this way. Hold on.
And just through tears, like we're saying it through tears because we're laughing so hard.
It's like, did Alex?
I know. It's amazing.
Take it. We're like, I don't care if it's a totally different line, take it.
Yep.
So right now, the line that Steve and I love most, can you just read the one on your card that's our most favorite? You know which one it is.
Which one?
The fussy.
Oh, hold on. I forgot my readers.
This is a line that when he did it, Steve and I are like, we don't care. We're changing the whole damn line.
I don't. It's such a fussy pants, man. I got some here you're going to want to see.
We're like, did he just say fussy pants?
Right.
Yes, he did. Print it.
Yes, that's the thing. Like most of the time we go into a session, we got our script printed out, and occasionally, sometimes things happen in the booth, and you're like, oh, let's make a change here. But they're not huge changes most of the time. But with Alex, it's like we'll just throw some lines
Thank you.
out
This
there,
honestly,
and
this is
I
the first
know
time
they're
I've
just
taken
gonna
the
be
time to watch
rewritten on the
anything
fly.
like it.
Got the
And
editor
since
open. I'm
Sub2
in there just
channel,
typing
I'm
like
paying more
crazy. I
attention
can't
more
believe
than the
he said
game.
that. Let me throw that in there because it's just.
I'm a
so
huge
much
fan of
more delicious.
BlizzCon, that's for sure.
Because
I've been
it's
once,
jamming.
and it was one of the best. It was one of my best like weekends ever. Back in 2013.
Thank you.
Oh my God. And I love it. And that's
But ever since, I've always gotten the virtual
times when
ticket,
we as adults
and
come in
I find it
go,
fun.
We have to give space for Draka, for Denathris, we give space to you because it's you as a person, your life story, your ideas,
And of
your
course,
thoughts that you want to try that really bring it to life. And Juan Samdi is like, he's just so delicious. I could listen to him all. We need like an audiobook. Steve, can we do a Juan Samdi audiobook?
I think that would be.
We got it. It'd be great. Or what if like just reading a user manual or something? It doesn't matter.
I'm with it.
Wow, we
love songs by Juan Samdi, like you were saying.
We love our Juan Samdi and the
What
fans.
the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Oh my God, it's so good. And I think I've seen a lot of romantic offers made to Juan Samdi on Twitter as well. I don't know if you see this. I'm like, there's a whole lot of fan fiction going on in your area. So well done, you. He's beloved. So, oh my God. I don't know how to talk about Anduin. Let's watch some great Anduin footage because we're like sassy Anduin is all a go. So let's watch some Anduin footage to celebrate your greatness, Josh.
There she is again. You know, these endless lectures.
Seeing my two favorite people in the game back to back. Let's go, Sylvanas.
The conversation is over. One way or another, we will have you.
I wish I had that to my voice.
This one last time.
Don't know what that is.
Join our cause, or be made to serve.
What kind of choice is that? Why even give me? It's the choice you never had. Despite all your grand designs, there's still some shred of your mortality haunting you. As if the Banshee Queen has.
My favorite tarantulas are named after him, although Alliance still amazing.
Now I understand why you brought me.
A tarantula named
Why you've
Anduin.
tried so hard to persuade me. Because if you can get me to let go of hope, you finally can too.
Enough!
I would love to see
Submit.
Sylvanas the
You
tarantula.
are only making this harder on yourself.
Not harder on me. Right now, you hold all the power. How will you use it?
I've not come this far to falter now.
Then why do you hesitate? Make your choice. Sylvanas Windrunner.
cut that. There's no cut point in there. Oh.
Based off of that cinematic,
You're all hangry in that video.
I know for a fact we're not killing Sylvanas in the next raid.
You know, having to listen to
Because she seems like she's questioning everything she's doing.
About how he's just, we get to see Anduin, you know, he started off as very formal.
And I know a lot of people are going to be upset about this, but
I'm over this. Let's tango.
How do you not see it coming?
Well, I mean, he's been through a lot.
Yeah.
He started out as the little kid that was in Stormwind and got thrown into being a king. I mean, losing his father in a horrible way, and now being expected by everybody to rule and lead the Alliance, and he's still kind of just a kid, and he's having to figure all this stuff out, and he's been through a lot of bad things. I mean, he's seen the home of his friends, the elves, completely burned to the ground by Sylvanas. He's had his own military strategies and campaigns fail, and have to, you know, see more and more of his countrymen die. Not everything has gone well for him, and at the end of it all, he still kind of has this belief, this unshakable faith in the light, that kind of really just lends to the optimism that he does have. And sometimes, I mean, it's kind of shown itself in the past to be somewhat naive, and he's having to deal with that. He's having to deal with the ramifications of these choices that he's made of perhaps trusting too much. And now we see that in here, where he's basically imprisoned, and having to find that strength, where he's still maintaining his faith in the light, and having that belief, and drawing so much strength from that. I mean, you could see at the end of that clip where his hands are open. I mean, his chest is exposed. He's offering himself up, and he's saying, yeah. He's basically telling Sylvanas, you're going to step to me, then let's see you do it. Bring it.
Yeah.
You know, he's finally, I mean, over the last couple expansions, he's gone from Anduin to Manduin.
Yes, yes.
And I mean, we really see it right there, where he's just done with her ish.
Absolutely.
Even in the beginning.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, where he's just like,
my favorite's when he's just like, oh, Jesus, you again.
There she is again.
So for you, what part of Josh do you think is an Anduin? Like, where do you think the two cross over?
Well, I grew up as a child actor.
Right.
I had very strict parents. I wasn't even allowed to watch like PG-13 movies. Like, I was very sheltered. And so I would say that. I mean, Anduin also grew up in a very sheltered life. And then when I finally got out on my own, when I finally kind of, you know, cut the umbilical cord and moved out of the house and tried to have my own life, like, life was there, and the world was there, and I was vastly unprepared for it. And so I definitely feel a kinship in him with him in that sense, in the sense of now having the world thrust upon you and feeling completely unprepared, but still having to rely on whatever optimism and hope that you have, that you can make this work. And so, I mean, that's pretty much what my own personal past that I draw from when I'm voicing Anduin. I mean, I've definitely, you know, grown since then, and grown into my own shoes. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that.
That's beautiful. I think there's a resilience there that we can all relate to, because I think all of us think we're prepared for life, and then we find out that we're not, and we just have to keep going, and life keeps throwing hard things, and we just have to keep going. So I think we can all relate to that. So you did him so beautifully. Steve, any thoughts on the Anduin journey so far?
Well, it's certainly a centerpiece of Shadowlands, this relationship between Anduin, Sylvanas, and how the jailer, his shadow, looms over that. It's been a lot of fun. The cinematic that you chose is it's definitely one of my favorite cinematics we've ever done. And Anduin is so great in that, because you look at what's going on in there. Sylvanas is holding the sword to him, but Anduin has all the power in that scene.
Right.
He's the one who's saying, he's putting it on her and backing her into the darkness where he's standing in that light. These are all very deliberate. That we've talked through this cinematic. Again, you know, I work on these with lots of different folks, but Taryn Gregory and Christy Golden and I worked very closely on this one in particular. And that was just that theme, that juxtaposition of power and who's got it in that scene was just so crucial and so fun. And you and Patty just delivered that so beautifully.
Patty being Sylvanas.
Well, I just love you all, and for all of you at home, I mean, I feel like you're all sitting here with your shoes off, drinking tea with us. But all these actors, I mean, I feel like we have like about an hour today, and it's just not enough. I want more time because there's so much to talk about. You know, our life stories. How
She
they
says
come
this
to it,
every
and
time.
The craft and all that. Maybe someday at Blizzcon, if we can all force them to give me a 5-hour panel or an 8-hour panel, I think that would be great because I can feel it. There's just I feel like
Sleepover. Yeah.
There you go.
BlizzCon slumber party. BlizzCon slumber party.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've been living in pajamas all year.
Let's do it. A BlizzCon slumber party with like snuggies and snacks would be great. Well, we've got a little bit of time left. What I want to do now
Voice.
is I want all of us to be, everybody's got cards with some of their lines on
Let's
it.
go.
So I want you to go around. We're going to
I
read
love
your
this part.
lines. And then we're going to be bananas, and we're going to switch cards.
Oh.
And be so silly. So just read a couple lines to start, and then we're going to switch it up, and then we're going to give some words of love to everybody before we go, and then we're just going to peace out. Okay? All right. I don't know. Deborah, go.
Any line or
Any line. Just choose whatever you want to do. Couple, like 3 or 4 lines.
I am Draka, once of the Frost Wolf clan, now Baroness of the House of the Chosen, and most of all, protector of Maldraxxus. Step forward, mortal, and raise your rune blade. The House of the Chosen stands with
You can hear the raspy.
I just want Deborah to read the rest of you. I don't care about right
You
now.
can hear the rasp.
Wonderful.
I'm really
All right.
paying attention because I don't know if I have to play her next time.
Well, now you said it. Now you just said it. Now you just said it. Let's hear you. Let's hear lovely Sergeant Athreus.
It's funny how sassy he is.
Oh,
I love him.
Restrain yourself, Ramonia. This is Revendreth. We do not butcher, we educate. How exhaustingly predictable. But then I suppose failure comes naturally to your kind. Defy Revendreth? I am Revendreth.
We get
What a
paid,
dude.
we get paid to do this. This
Yeah.
is bananas.
I find this crazy, but
Sorry.
if you watch the we will watch the Overwatch one eventually.
So lucky.
Those
Everyone
guys
is
do
here.
Sure.
totally different voice lines. It's crazy.
I shall protect these souls through their winter. I shall see them reborn in their spring. No matter what trial I face, I swear it, my queen. I swear it. Anyone who threatens my grove is my enemy. For Ardenweald.
I love it so much. Wow. All right.
These guys are like using an accent. If you watch the Overwatch one,
Become an instrument of death.
totally different.
Everyone suffers, Sylvanas. But destroying everything will not take away the pain. Do you expect me to believe that all this time, you've been fighting for justice? Look around you at what and who you've joined. What makes you believe you're not just a weapon to achieve his ends? I thought you believed in free will, Sylvanas.
All right, my boy's next. My boy's
Okay,
next. Let's go.
okay. Oh my God. All right, Bonsamdi.
Hey, well, you say Ice Queen, it's been a long time. But this tree looking good. Yeah, I like what you done with the place. You better watch your tongue, little thing. Want somebody the boss man now. Another day, another deal.
The best part is watching your faces because your faces change. Okay, give me your cards. I'm
Oh,
gonna mix them
no.
up. Give me your cards.
Sweet mother.
Give me your cards.
Oh, boy. What are you doing?
And we're gonna give me your cards.
All I got is one song.
Give me your cards. All
That's all I do.
right. Okay. You
I
got
love
it.
that.
Okay.
What if I get the same one? I got
Okay.
one.
Don't tell me if you pick the same one.
Did
Okay.
you just read
Here we
everyone
go.
else's
Okay,
line
here we go.
as a character?
I think that would be great. I think I'm
Don't tell anybody what you got. Okay.
Oh no!
All right.
I know who got Bonsamdi.
Do the other lines as one song.
No, as the character you just heard.
Oh no.
Oh, you can do it either.
Oh, whatever, however you want to do it. I'll let actor's choice.
I get it.
Actor's choice.
You
All right.
fathers.
Okay. Who wants to go first? Who's ready? Actors?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Here's the character Anduin Rin, Warcraft, originated by Josh Keaton, but now it's played by me.
I will not become an instrument of death.
That's pretty damn good.
Everyone suffers, Sylvanas, but destroying everything will not take away the pain. I thought you believed in free will, Sylvanas.
Good
Ooh,
job.
didn't
That was
get
pretty
one
good. maybe Denathrius is his long-lost brother. It kind of sounds...
You know, no spoiler.
Oh, sorry. Who's ready next? Okay, Alex.
I am Draka. Once of the Frostwolf clan, now Baroness of the House of the Chosen, and most of all, a protector of Maldraxxus. But then, the House of the Chosen stands with you. For crickets, for Akari! Yes.
All right, who's next? Josh.
I guess it's me. I got Sire Denathrius.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hear it.
How fortunate you are to witness the splendor of what is about to unfold. Every precious drop of anima, so painstakingly wrung from the tortured souls of lesser beings, now paves the path for the banished one to reclaim what was his. Defy Revendreth. I am Revendreth.
Oh, good.
I think we should switch the whole...
No.
Well, that means... Let's hear it.
He got Vang Soundy. Oh no.
Hear what you got. Look, don't mess it up now, Max. You gotta be perfect.
What I love is that it's the way the accent is. It's written in for me.
I'm sure it's gonna sound very authentic.
I'm so scared.
I can't do this, right?
Okay,
This is okay to do? Okay, all right.
Totally.
One somebody got all the Thunderlary praising me. Without the jailer, you just be a poor forgotten error.
That's great, man. Okay, maybe we won't recast all the kids.
That's great. We can make him a background troll. That's fine.
That's great.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's funny.
I love you guys. Let's everybody at home. Let's clap for our actors. I love you guys.
Oh, did you go?
Endeavor's
Oh my God! I got so excited by your Bon Somni. I got so excited.
Because that's how we should have ended it.
I'm so sorry, Deborah. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. My
Go.
name is Deborah.
I know. Sorry, you
You mean
are.
Max?
Yeah.
I'm Max Middleman. Read this. I shall protect these souls through their winter. I shall see them reborn in their spring. No matter what trial I face, I swear it, my queen. I swear it.
She's really good.
Anyone who threatens my grove is my enemy. I will hunt for you, my queen. For Ardenweald.
She did that line wrong, but it's so good nonetheless. She's really good. She did that line wrong.
I just have to say real quick, I grew up watching Deborah on TV.
And she's
that is like such a huge honor for you to be doing my character in front of me. That blows my mind. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That was cool.
That was perfect. You guys are amazing. This just shows the versatility as well. I mean, maybe you could work on the accent a little bit.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
It's cool. I got to work on my dwarf.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Well, we are basically almost out of time. So what I want to do is close with just, a reminder to our fans. We'll go around quickly and just our parting words to all of us out there. You guys can start. Steve, I don't know who wants to start. I love you all. Alex, you ready to start? Just a parting farewell to our lovely tribe.
So grateful to be here. So grateful that you're here. And just remember, be good to you and be good to those around you. Everything else will come together.
Amen.
Beautifully said. Steve?
Thanks for being part of BlizzCon Line. Can't wait to be back with you in person again and share this magic, this energy. It will happen. Stay strong.
Yes.
I want to be at the next one for sure.
Thank you for being with us on this panel. Thank you for playing Shadowlands and World of Warcraft. And when things seem the darkest, the light is always with you.
I don't know much.
I will say, my grandma always told me, she had this phrase, "This too shall pass." And I know that even in the darkest of times, we will get through it. We'll get through it together. It's easy to lose sight of what we do have, so stay grateful, and that's how we can pull through.
Yes, beautifully said.
Hang in there, you guys. Keep playing World of Warcraft. It's a great way to get through this. And especially thank you to Blizzard for letting me take home that wonderful piece of art.
I've been to one, and it was really fun. I just can never afford to go every single
I always
year.
love to say this to people, and I mean it when I say it every single time. There isn't a time when it doesn't mean something to me, so I really hope it means something to you. Be blessed, be well, be happy, be healthy, but most importantly, be you, because you are beautiful.
Oh, God, I love you guys. And I'm just going to say, I love you so much. Thank you for joining our World of Warcraft voice actor panel. We love you. We did it for you. And we're all going to be okay. Take care. Till next time. Be well. Bye.